you feel great. You feel like unstoppable because you go to the gym.
Yeah.
If you're lifting 50 pounds, now you're lifting 60 and 70, and you're laughing because the energy, the strength you have. But guess what? Now it's gonna give you one more edge to actually grow your muscle better, put on some muscle mass. Hey Josh, how's it going today, buddy?
Hey, Marissa, it's good in yourself, eh?
Good to see you. I was actually watching your Instagram earlier. You got some amazing view compared to us having nice and cold and snowy days, eh?
Yes, yes, it's very warm today. Very blessed to be living in Cape Town,
That's
South
awesome.
Africa. Yeah.
I have to come down and visit you guys up in that area and actually get to relax a bit on a nice hot days.
Yes, you have to get that vitamin D. You're more than welcome. You always got a place to stay if you ever come this side.
Hey, that's awesome. That's good to hear. So to kind of get into this, so tell me a bit about yourself, what you've been doing. I know right now I've heard over the past couple days that you're going back onto carnivore for some healing purposes.
Mm.
So just tell me a bit what's happening, what's going on, what making you kind of change again.
So, well, we'll start. We'll start last year. Let's just say 6 months ago. August last year was my birthday, and what happened is I went for a run in the morning, and leading up until that date, let's just say the whole of last year was a very tough year in terms of emotionally, stress from varsity, university, everything. And leading up to my birthday in August, I wasn't eating great. I mean, you know me. I compromised one of my values basically. It's as simple as that. So you know that I've been passionate about health and fitness for a long time. We met at the Bulletproof Biohacking Conference,
Yes.
and I just sort of left. I just sort of forgot about it, and I just sort of thought that everything would be okay. And it caught up to me. So in August, literally on my birthday, the 1st of August, I woke up in the morning. I could feel this like stinging sensation on my chin over here,
Mm-hmm.
and I just thought it was like a pimple. And then I flew to Joburg, and then uh the next day it just felt like a wasp or a bee was just stinging me constantly, and it turns out it was a cyst, it was a boil that had got infected, and I try to squeeze it, which is one of the worst things you can do,
Yes.
and it's my entire face just swelled up. Like it looked like there was a tennis ball attached to my
Oh
face.
wow.
And anyway, long story short, I went on a heavy course of antibiotics
Okay.
for 2 weeks. So that completely, I would imagine that completely altered my gut microbiome. There's no doubt about it.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
and then I went to Japan on a holiday, and we went to Dubai, and I think I might have caught something there because the first day in Japan, I walked outside, and for the first time in my life, I walked outside, and it was like I had dementia. I almost didn't know where I was. I could not figure out where I was. I had this crazy brain fog hit me. I've never experienced that before in my life. And anyway, so I did what I knew how to do, and I went back to eating good food, simple food, and things. But things sort of just weren't progressing. I went for a bunch of tests, um, had a bunch of just a whole bunch of things were happening, and I just wasn't seeing any improvement. And then on top of all of this, I'm a CrossFit athlete,
Yes, of
not a
course.
very good one, but I do CrossFit, and I'm losing weight. I'm just losing weight at a rapid rate, and I'm not too sure why I was losing weight. Um, and I mean, I was eating well, so let's just put that caveat in. I was eating good food, so I would have lost weight, but I was losing weight faster than I've ever lost in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and saw somebody, and she was like, "No, you have SIBO and whatnot." And so eventually, up until today, or let's just say last week, I just decided, I need to just think about this logically, and I just need to get back to a baseline. And yeah, so for the last week, I've been full carnivore. When I say full carnivore, I do eat a bit of dairy, but no plant-based products at the moment.
Okay.
Um, and that blood, I know we can maybe speak about that. I sent you that blood test. That wasn't while I was on carnivore. So it'll be interesting to see after 30 days or 90 days how the bloods change and things like that.
Okay.
But sure, it's basically, I believe everything happens for a reason, and uh, it's almost like the universe was telling me where I needed to be heading, and the direction that I was heading last year just wasn't good in terms of my health, because I really do value my health, and I value even more than that. I value speaking to people like you, and I mean, you know me. I love speaking to people, and I love interacting, and I value not sharing that knowledge and helping people, because we are in a very very tough time in terms of health. We're facing an epidemic, so it's good to have people on the ground.
No, no, no. It is definitely, and I always tell everybody, whether you're a vegan or you're following Paleolithic, ketogenic, carnivore, carb loading, whatever form of lifestyle, if we all actually work as a team, like, because each one of us is doing research, each one of us is actually reading
Mm,
scientific literatures. So why don't we put that knowledge together and actually figure out exactly how did our ancestors did live? Do we even
mm,
have an exact moment of their time frame where we know exactly what they ate, how long they lived, what type of stress they went through? We don't know that
mm,
kind of information. And what happened
mm,
is, when we read that literature, each one of us is actually given an assumption of this is what I think happened. And what happens is, people like me and you, who were trying to actually fix our health, because over the years we thought we were actually eating healthy, whether we're eating grains or vegetables or meat or whatever, we thought we're eating healthy. And, because you're young, our system, our immunity is so strong, our gut health is so amazing, that our system is fighting off these poison foods we're consuming, these pesticides, herbicides, you name it, pretty much. We've been kind of fighting it for 10, 15, 20 years. But, when you actually break it down, everything is planned by the government, I think, or pharmaceutical. They say if an average person can go 20 years, 30 years with no issues, when they start to hit, late 20s, early 30s, that's when new diseases will be born. And
mm,
whether we get heart disease, diabetes, cancer, so on and so forth. Now we got these audience hooked on our pharmaceutical products. Now we can start to generate money, and no one has a clue what's going on. You go to the doctor gives you antibiotics, gives you pharmaceutical chemicals. Yes, you might feel great in the start, but after that, it's gonna cost you 10, 15, 20 years out of your life, that a lot of people are actually dying at such a young age. And I can relate that to me, because, having a heart attack, at age 35, 36, kind of wonder, what the hell did I just do? Been training
mm,
for 15, 17 years, and all of a sudden you have a heart attack, right? So you kind of wonder, let's take one step back and see what's going on. So what I think is, I like to treat the body as whole. And I know when we've met at the last Bulletproof Coffee, we're enjoying the coffee, the butter, the MCT oil. It's nice. It is a nice feeling, because we're all in a social group. We're having a great time. That's how I met you, and met other guys up from Instagram as well too. It's an amazing time. But when you come down to it and you say, okay, I'm listening to this influencer, and this influencer said, hey, take my MCT oil, put some butter in the coffee, you'll feel great. And yet you listen to another influencer says, well, hey, if you put too much butter, or you put too much MCT, now you're gonna have a mitochondria dysfunctional. Then you listen to a third influencers, and they say the opposite. So every person, when you actually look at it, at the end of the day, they're all after their freaking pockets to make
mm,
money, sell their products, They're happy, they're enjoying their life, while us as an audience, we're actually falling apart. Because if you follow one specific
Mm.
diet, one specific lifestyle, it's funny how your body becomes so sensitive to other products. So to kind of break it down even further, so let's say you became carnivore, 100% eating meat and fish. Perfect. Your body's actually healing. Autoimmune disease actually, dropping. Your immunity becomes a lot more enhanced. Your mitochondria is getting more stronger. That's what we think. We don't know for sure because we are very limited on testing. Suddenly, you get invited by a friend and you end up having Brussels sprouts, and guess what? You can't digest it. Your skin breaks out. You feel fatigue. You have a foggy brain, and you wonder why. Well, what's happening? Because
Mm.
your body got used to only one specific product, and when you introduce something else, now it's creating an issue in your system. It's creating a toxic effect. For example,
Mm.
when we have little babies and the baby's outside and eating freaking dirt, come back inside the house, grab food, shoves it in, goes back outside, have a piece of candy or whatever. So they're building their immunity. And we should always continue
Mm.
building our immunity to actually, because we live in a modern life where we cannot just adapt to one specific lifestyle. We have to actually be able to pick and choose. So therefore, when you are out in the city, or you fly to Japan, or you fly to like myself, I fly to the Middle Eastern countries, and I know a lot of places like that. The economy is different, the weather is different, the atmosphere is different, the food is different. So imagine if
Yeah.
I go there and your body cannot handle the stress, you end up having a heart attack and you're out of the world. Or because
Yeah.
your body's immunity is so strong, now you can go there and handle it no problem. So it's
Yeah.
not all about being, one lifestyle fixes it all. We live in a society and today's age where we have to look everything as a whole. Like look at the body as a whole and treat it as a whole. And that's the reason you probably noticed. I lost a lot of carnivores that they've been following me because I do the carb load,
Yeah.
and there's a reason I do that, to actually increase my immunity. And I always tell this
Mm.
to everybody: why freeze the disease? Because I'll give you, like, I read some article, scientific article. Um, so let's say you have a heart disease, and you go on a ketogenic Paleolithic diet, which is great because you just remove the poison. The poison is the sugar, but there's a specific timing for that sugar. So you remove that poison from your body. I'm not just talking in general about sugar. I'm talking about anything that turns into sugar as well too. You actually take it out of your diet. Now you just froze the disease, and you continue, whether you're on Paleolithic, ketogenic, carnivore diet. You continue eating these habits. That disease has been frozen. Fine, perfect.
Mm.
It's like people, when they want to lose weight, they go on this specific lifestyle and they lose weight for a year, 2 years, and the moment they end up eating junk again or whatever it was, guess what? They gain weight a lot faster, and they double their weight and size as well. So it's the same thing. So you just froze that disease for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. The moment you introduce something different to your body, that disease is reborn. So
Mm.
why freeze it if we can actually reverse or prevent or actually kill that disease and actually start brand new? Because what happens is when you have your mitochondria and your mitochondria is sick, so when you go on carnivore diet or ketogenic diet, you froze that disease, but constantly that mitochondria, when it's actually reproducing, it's reproducing sick cells. So you constantly are in that sickness still, but you just froze that disease. So the moment,
Mm.
for example, you take yourself and you go back, say hell with carnivore, hell with ketogenic. I wanna enjoy life, right? So you go ahead and start eating grains and you start eating ice cream. You feel fine. You're digesting the products because your acidity has increased. Your pancreas is releasing the proper enzymes. And suddenly, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the road, suddenly something is shifting. That disease is
Mm.
actually forwarding again. And what happened
Mm.
is now people are getting their cancer back. They're getting some kind of a disease restating in their body. They're getting the foggy brain. They're getting maybe more increase in their heart disease. Whatever whatever is happening,
Mm.
it's getting there. So what do we do? We have to find a gateway. We have to find like the answer how we can actually overcome that.
Mm. So talk to me about your carb loading, because I'm interested in it, and I will do it. It's just I first want to establish a baseline, and in order to do that, I have to go carnivore for at least, I would say, 2 weeks. That's minimum, you know. But I'm feeling a ton better.
That's good.
And I know it's all digestion. Like, so I was sort of before I was doing carnivore, I was sort of doing like a vertical diet. You know, I was eating the rice and I was having a little bit of oats here and there.
Yes.
Um, I was having about 50 grams a day, and then on the odd day I would have about, I don't know, 100 grams. But it's very clear that my digestion just needed this break, you know? It just needed a break from the rice and the grains and stuff like that. Um, and so talk to me about your carb loading, because I will want to do it, because as a CrossFit athlete, I think it's also important to have those glycogen stores, you know, fully ramped up.
Yes.
But I first would like to, I was chatting to somebody about it. Sorry, I just want to close this window here. There we go. So I was chatting to, I don't know who it was, but I was basically saying that right now I can't think about being the best performing CrossFit athlete right now. I just need to think about adapting my eating to my training, if that makes sense, or adapting my training to my eating. So not going out and training hard and then wanting to go eat a shitload of carbs, you know. Just rather right now, just gradually increase the training, get to a point where you're comfortable, and then after, let's just say, 30 days of carnivore, I can start doing like you do. I can do a carb refeed like I used to do. That's what I used to
Yeah.
do. I used to go very low carb in the week, and then I used to do a Saturday cheat day. Eat
Yes.
whatever you want. Just unfortunately, me, I was young. I used to drink a lot of alcohol as well. But I've learned my lesson that side too. Um, but yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on the carb cycling or the carb loading and how it's working for you. And yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna take one step further, one step back here as well too. So when it comes down, so me personally, I'll give you an example. So I was about 200 pounds. That's my
Mm,
total weight. Uh, I was roughly about 85% muscle mass. I was about 15% body fat, which is very reasonable. The moment I adapted, well, I don't like to say the word adapted. I think that's just a made up word. The moment I became ketogenic, um, and people should actually pay attention to this, especially a lot of customers, a lot of audience who tend to train hard. You go on a ketogenic and suddenly you start to lose weight, which is that's a great effective way. But the problem is with ketogenic, you will actually lose muscle mass. So I went from
mm,
200 pounds down to about 150. I lost 50 pounds worth of weight in about 3 years. And yes, I lost a lot of muscle mass. And when I did a lot more research on that, I found out, there is a specific amount of protein required, there is a specific amount of carbohydrates required to maintain the muscle mass shape. So when you get when you get audience say, hey, I gained muscle mass on ketogenic or muscle mass on carnivore, I think that's bullshit. There's either they're taking some type of anabolic steroids to maintain a muscle mass, and or uh, muscle stays in memory, right? So
mm,
so let's say they end up losing weight, and prior to that they end up losing some muscle. They end up going on these diets, and suddenly they put on weight. Something is going on. Something is hidden that nobody's telling you.
mm,
Everybody has a secret that they never share, and that's what I hate. Like, just be straight out and say it. Like, I'm on a carnivore diet for I take about 10 plus supplements, and there's a reason why I take these supplements. And I have a lot of people argue. They said when you are on a carnivore, you shouldn't be taking any supplements because all you get all your vitamins and minerals. Yes, to a certain extent, but there's a reason why each one of us say do require certain supplements, and I'll go that
mm,
in detail. So when we look at carb load right now, when I start doing the carb load, now my weight is increasing again as muscle mass. So I went up from 85%, now I'm up to 92%. So our bodies is designed to actually have some type of glucose, some type of insulin response. So therefore, we end up refueling our glycogen level and be able to actually perform better, such as yourself being a high intensive athletic person or CrossFit. You do need the glycogen to perform, because what
Mm.
happens is glucose levels, they'll give you the strong effect, but as well there's a place for them at the right time. So
Mm.
after you're doing, carnivore for 20, 30 days, usually I say within 10 days you can start doing the carb load, because the moment you become, anywhere between 6 to 10 days, pretty much your body is depleted from all the glycogen storage. So
Mm.
technically, after that, you can start to perform the carb load. You want to fix your
Mm.
gut, you want to fix your gut will actually be healed in time, but will actually, I'll go a lot more in details about the enzymes, because this is very, very interesting. So what happened is you go from Monday to, like, my carb load is a Friday night. So I go from, Sunday to Friday, pretty much strictly just zero carbs. I consume still, almost 98% carnivorous, where I would have my meat and fish. I never allow one day go by without having my fish, and we'll talk about that why. So I'll have my meat, my fish, I would have my liver a couple times a week, so on and so forth. And when Friday comes, um, myself, I do what's called like a protein, what do you call it? Protein fasting. So instead of actually consuming muscle meat, I would actually consume collagen. So that's when I eat my beef
Mm.
tendons, so on and so forth, because you still need
Mm.
some
I've
type of
seen I've seen
protein.
you with your tendons.
They're delicious, but damn, you have to actually clean them, because there's so much freaking hair. I don't know why they don't clean them at. But so I would actually have my, beef tendons and an initial meal uh, with some bone marrow and stuff, just something nice and simple, not too rich in fat either. And I'd go roughly about 6 hours, digesting the food, so on and so forth. I don't eat anything. Then that's when I actually hit the gym. I haven't been to the gym for 4 years, but right now I'm gonna start heading it again. And
Nice.
what I do is like a high intensive training, high resistant training. It has to be high resistant training, low reps, super hard, because the whole idea with that training is to explode your cellular system, your immunity, to actually cause that catabolic, so you can actually tear the muscle apart. But right now, instead of actually allowing a sick cell to be reborn, let's allow a brand new cell to be reborn.
Mm.
So by doing that, now your body is hungry and is into that phase where it needs a major recovery. And yes, by eating a steak or bone marrow or bone broth, all that, okay, it's nice and dandy. It gives you the protein you require, but you need something to refuel that glycogen, because that's when the carbohydrates will actually becomes more of a repair mechanism. So when you
Mm.
actually do that major massive training, now you have to kind of feed your body the right nutrients to actually help it recover. But as well, you just opened up a window of 24 hours where you can actually refuel the glycogen for the next 5 to 7 days.
Mm.
So as soon as you're done that massive training, um, I make a quick shake. I don't like to consume protein shakes because I don't believe in them too much. And what happens is after you consume 10 grams, it tends to kind of turns into sugar because it's fast absorbing. So I would put like about a 10 gram of protein. I'll put roughly about a half a banana. I'll put 5 grams of creatine, 5 grams of D-ribose, just because it's a better uptake to actually assist with the creatine. I blend it and I drink it right after my intensive training. Then
Okay.
so that banana that I put in there is roughly about a 20 grams. Roughly that's how much your body needs for carbohydrates to recover after a heavy hit training. I never
Mm.
do it pre, I always do it right after. And that's it. And I wait about a half hour window, just so I'll allow my heart rate to go back to normal. And after that
Mm.
half hour window, that's what I do my carb load. Now, there's the interesting thing about the carb load. One of the biggest mistake is what some audience do is they go ahead and start consuming complex carbohydrates. And one of the downfall with complex carbohydrates, when your insulin spikes, it will spike, let's say, to about 6 millimolars, 7 millimolars, and after that, slowly it's gonna go down, right? But when it goes down very, very slowly. So it takes about 8, 9, 10, 12 hours before it goes back to like your regular, which is 4.4 millimolar, I believe it is. And that's it. And they think they just fed their system a glycogen. But what happened in that spike and that drop of 10, 12 hours, the moment you exceed 6 hours, your body goes into an inflammation factor. You're actually putting weight on. You didn't allow your growth hormone to kick in after 90 minutes. You fall asleep, so you just cause more an inflammation factor more than actually realizing properly. So the whole idea with that window is to consume a high glycemic index. That's why I hate when people talk about high glycemic or low glycemic. I think that's bullshit. But stick with high glycemic index. So we're talking the simplest carbohydrates that will give you a strong insulin spike, where it can reach is 8 or 9 millimolar, and it drops within about a 4 to 6 hour window. By the time it drops in a 4 to 6 hour window and you go to sleep, and what happens is 90 minutes when your growth hormone kicks in, your insulin becomes more of a repair mechanism, where it actually is refueling your glycogen storage, but right now is actually repairing all the damage you've done to your muscle. But if that spike increase more than a 6 hour, now you're causing inflammation. So the best way to actually do it would be like simplest: white rice. You got bananas. Make sure they're very, very ripe. You got sweet potato. So we're talking almost like a resistant starches, but at the same time something that will cause a high insulin spike, and it goes back to normal. So that's how you actually refuel your glycogen for the next 5-7 days. And the nice thing about it, you're not gonna put on weight. That's the beauty about it. You wake up the next day, you might maybe stuff yourself with about a pound or 2 pounds of white rice, sweet potato, so on and so forth. But guess what? You wake up the next day, you gain zero, but you're gonna notice in days, your performance is way better. You're a lot stronger, and you're actually in a good freaking mood. Like you feel great. You feel like unstoppable because you go to the gym.
Yeah.
If you're lifting 50 pounds, now you're lifting 60 and 70, and you're laughing because the energy, the strength you have. But guess what? Now it's gonna give you one more edge to actually grow your muscle better, put on some muscle mass, and at the same time you're actually losing weight because you're not doing carbohydrates every freaking day. You're doing the carbohydrates once a week, and you're doing the proper carbohydrates. So when I tell everybody you wanna actually junk it up on a day, go eat your cakes, your pizza, so on and so forth, enjoy it, and that's it. And
Yeah.
that's how simple it is. But don't freaking mix fat with it.
Yeah.
And one of the influencer that me and you, we know quite a bit, they actually, when he uses rice, he puts MCT
Yeah.
on it. So imagine you have MCT with the uptake of a glucose to your mitochondria. Now you're causing a malfunction in your mitochondria. You wake up the next day, you're gonna actually feel like shit, to be honest.
Yeah. And what I like with how you putting it is that, I'm obsessed with simplicity, and not everyone that we know is gonna, not the average person is gonna be as into this as we are. You are into this far more than I am, to be honest. Anyway, in terms of supplements and knowing the details behind everything, I'm just all about simplicity, and to me, that's a very simple way that many people can follow a diet. Is they can go carnivore in the week for 6 days, and then they have a carb refeed. That works for many people. That's going to be the best option for them, and it's going to be life changing, which is very cool. And I love that, because because there's just so many people out there that are just struggling, and they're struggling. So it's just the big question is, how do we make it fun and simple, and how do you make it so that people can follow the diet? So if you want to have that bulletproof coffee in the morning with your carnivore diet, you know, if it's going to make you adhere to the diet, do it. I mean, I'm doing that at the moment,
Yes.
and I'm feeling good. So that's just one of those things that's keeping me to doing it, because I love my morning cup of coffee. So that's cool. Um, but thank you. Yeah, that made a lot of sense to me in terms of insulin and spiking and coming down. That's very interesting.
No, no, it is interesting, and the whole idea is I try to kind of simplify it as much as possible for everyone. Is don't make things overcomplicated. Don't spend too much time in the freaking kitchen. Take that time and utilize it for something else. Start
Mm,
start your day every day with the right attitude. If your coffee makes you happy, by all means, coffee makes me happy. I
mm,
love it. Wake up in the morning, I would have my whether it's bulletproof or I put 35 or 52% whipping cream, and I actually blend it. So I change it up. I enjoy that. So by all means, if there's certain things you enjoy, don't just stop it because you came, a ketogenic or carnivore or paleolithic. All this is not ancestral or whatever it is. Like, come on, you're talking 10,000 years ago. Let's move 10,000 years up ahead. Whether we're drinking coffee or tea or whatever it is, or you're eating a
yeah,
freaking chocolate in the morning. If you
yeah,
are if you are aware of it, but that specific thing is making you excited and happy, and the nice thing is you look forward to it, by all means enjoy it. Like when I
mm,
do my carb load every Friday evening, guess what? Like right now I just finished mine, and I can't wait for my next one. So that's what keeps me going till I look forward
yes,
for my Friday evening, because I'm waiting. Okay, I'm planning this coming up Friday. I want to have a freaking pizza, and I haven't had pizza for like 6 years, for example. So, but I'm gonna do it at the right time to get the
oh,
full
that's cool.
benefit. But you know
I
what I
can't wait
mean?
to see that.
But that's the beauty of it. So if you wake up every morning and you can't wait till you fall asleep and you wake up in the morning because you're looking for that fresh coffee, then definitely
Yeah,
look forward to it. And I tell everybody, if you're sick of eating carnivore or keto, and you find the diet is so basic and it's repetitive, where you're eating the same thing over and over again, make one day exciting,
yeah,
whether it's every morning like I do it or like you do it with a coffee, and make, let's say, one day a week that's your cheat meal. You're gonna go out and socialize with friends, but you're gonna enjoy it and have a good
yeah.
time. But
And
don't.
it makes yeah, sorry, it makes those experiences more enjoyable because you're really savoring every bite.
Yeah.
And then what I was gonna say is that I want to speak about this recently. Let me just open this up a tiny bit here. I was gonna speak about this, and I want to try and do a video on it, but something that's helped me, because I've had a difficult relationship with food
Yeah.
my entire life, and that's come up for me, and that was a lot of the emotional side. I mean, I lost over, I think it was 80 pounds,
Wow.
70 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen a picture of what I used to
Yes.
look like,
Yeah.
but you know, this is where it gets interesting, because I thought that losing all that weight would make me happy, and it didn't.
No.
It gave me a lot of respect. My peers respected me, um, but at the end of the day, it was my relationship that I had with food, which is actually very deeper than that. It was my father and a lot of these things. So a lot of this stuff came out,
Mm-hmm.
and that had a lot to do with my. I believe it had a lot to do with my recent health issues, which I'm very thankful for, because it was my own body's way. You know, Dr. Gabor Mate, I don't know if you heard him on Tim
Yeah.
Ferriss, but he wrote that book called When the Body Says No. And when I got that cyst and I got that boil, and I've been plagued with brain fog, it's my body telling me that whatever I was doing was not sustainable. That was my
Mm-hmm.
body, like your heart. That is your body telling you, believe it or not, it's your body telling you to to change something, or to de-stress, or our bodies are amazing. And so anyway, what I was going to say is that having that bad relationship with food, um, the statement that I love now is that at the end of the day, food is fuel. It's so simple, but
Yeah.
food is actually fuel. I mean, it's not. We have to have a look at, but when you think about it like that, it actually makes every meal just so incredible. Even if it is the same carnivore, and I try and mix it up as much as I can because I love variety. But at the end of the day, food is fuel, and when you think about it like that, it shifts your perspective. I don't know what you would think about that though.
Mhm.
You know?
No, no, I agree with you 100%. Like, I never really look at food as entertainment. I look at food as fuel. I want to eat
Yeah.
a good, dense nutrient that I know I'm not gonna get a craving. I'm gonna feel satiated. The same time, I'm feeding my body as whole. I'm not just kind of
Yes.
aiming at one thing only. Let's just say if clientele want to just put on muscle mass, it start to kind of increase their protein intake, a whole bunch of stuff. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as being whole for your whole body. I want my cognition, my performance, my mood, my gut health. I want to be able to eat and be able to get up and run instantly without actually have to sit and digest. Like
Yes.
right, and the nice thing is, yes, with the simplicity of the food, because that's how we ate. If you're gonna look at the ancestral, they ate something very simple. They ate their meat, they ate their fat, and they're enjoying their life. They're not kind of, oh, what am I gonna have on my next meal, or what am I gonna have tomorrow,
Yeah.
or what's going on. Forget that. The moment you're hungry, you consume your food, you're satisfied, your body's fed properly. Move on and do other things in life that you actually
Yeah.
enjoy, whether it's fitness, whether it's hiking, whether it's YouTube videos, whether interviewing people, socializing. Enjoy that. Enjoy
Yes.
that
So
for sure.
talk to me, you mentioned fat. Talk to me about the ratios because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and I've been trying to figure out if I'm not eating enough or if I am eating enough fat. Yeah, talk. What are your thoughts on fat? And obviously we very different. So I do like to cook my meat. I cook my meat and I eat a variety of meat, so like ground beef, but
Yes.
mainly it's just sirloin. I like sirloin. That's my go-to is just a sirloin steak. So like,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on if I want to increase uh not muscle mass but strength because I know those are two different things as well, but just have strength and ability and stuff. What are your thoughts on fat and where that plays a role in cognition or whatever?
Now, fat is used for many things, right? It's for satiated to feel full. Same time as fat and carbohydrates, they fall in the same category, which is fuel as well too. So the way I look at it is, I tell this to everyone. Keep it as simple as possible. Yes, you are getting a fattier piece of steak, sirloin, ribeye, so on and so forth. Keep it naturally. If that steak is giving you 1-to-1 ratio, 0.5 to 1, 2 to 1 ratio, that's what that steak is giving you. Now, an average person, if they're consuming that one steak, and let's just say that one steak has a 1-to-1 ratio. So, what I mean by 1-to-1, if that steak has about 50 grams of protein, it does have, let's say, 50 grams of fat, and that 50 grams of fat is actually giving you enough energy for 4 or 5 hours, and you're able to go to the gym and train and eat again, but you're maintaining your weight. Perfect. Stay at it.
Mm,
um, if you're looking to actually increase the muscle mass, of course, muscle mass comes in two different categories. One is based on your training, how much you're pushing your body, whether you're doing resistance or not, and do you have the right fuel to actually allow the body to actually increase its muscle mass. So that's where you end up playing with the ratios a bit. On certain days I go 1-to-1 ratio. In certain days I know I'm gonna be training quite hard and very intense because I want that growth factor. Yes, I would actually increase it 2-to-1 because I need to last a
is
little
that
bit
two
longer.
to one? Is that 2 grams of? Is that two the fat and one the protein?
Correct. Yes, I would
Okay.
actually I increase it a ratio 2-to-1, so fat to protein.
Okay.
But as well, I do increase my protein now. Instead of me only consuming 0.7 grams per 1 pound of body weight, I go as high as 1 gram or 1.2 grams of protein, and I would actually double that in fat because I know I'm going through a phase where I'm gonna damage the muscle. I'm gonna go through a phase where I need that strength and energy to last me
Mm,
throughout the day, and that's how I end up putting and gaining some weight. But of course, without carbohydrates, Or if people are actually against the carbohydrates without an amino acid called leucine to turn on your
Mm,
proper mTOR, you're not gonna actually put on that muscle,
mm,
that size you're looking for, that full size you're looking for. So that's how I do it, and that's what I actually, when I train local clientele, that's how I put them through. And a lot of my clientele here
okay.
locally, of course, everybody consumes carbohydrates. So I work in the I work in the carbohydrates, but I try not to kind of mix the two. I don't mix the fat and the carbohydrates because now you have two energy fuels where you're gonna cause some inflammation because your body is always gonna depend is gonna utilize the glucose before it utilizes the fat.
Mm,
So that's
yeah,
how I look at it.
yeah. That's that's um that's very interesting. I was gonna ask you something, but it slipped my mind. Um, yeah, sorry, I can't think of it right now. I was getting really into your discussion there.
And another thing is one thing I just want to
Oh,
mention. Oh,
sorry,
sorry, go ahead.
I've just remembered it.
Oh, nice, awesome.
So 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 just to also give you the context. I mean, I don't know how much longer you have left
No, no, don't worry. I
to
have a lot
speak,
of time.
but so the reason behind all of this as well. So um, I've also had crazy chest pain when I had my last year. Crazy chest pain. Went to all the specialists, did ECGs, EKGs. My heart is perfect. I've got I had a CAT scan paid for me. And they paid for me because they've never seen cholesterol so high in a 24-year-old before. So they actually paid for me to go into a special study.
Yeah,
And I mean, you'd never guess. My calcium score is a fat 0,
that's awesome.
and I'm and my um and my cholesterol was, I mean, my LDL at that stage was 11. It's now come down a bit to 9, and I think my hypothesis is that either I had an infection, which I'm still getting rid of, and it could be related to the SIBO, or it could be a bit of a thyroid thing, autoimmune. I'm almost sure it's an autoimmune thing, which is why I'm feeling so good being back on carnivore,
Okay.
and that's why I'm okay. But my doctor phoned me the one day, and she said, "Josh, you need to go to the hospital right now. I've never seen cholesterol so high
Oh wow.
in a 24-year." But I mean, you can imagine this is the default response that
Yeah.
physicians have, is that it's we look at one thing. So I've got low blood pressure, I've got low blood glucose, I've got very little visceral fat, but my cholesterol's high, so let's put you on a statin. That's
For
what it
sure.
wants. That's what. So yeah, I just want to add that because I do have a family history of heart disease, and that's why when I had these chest pains, which turns out is a bit of costochondritis. So I don't know if you know what that is. It's the inflammation of the intercostal muscles. Yeah,
Yeah.
from CrossFit and trauma and whatnot. So that also was the reason. My point is that it almost feels guilty. That's why I bring it up. It almost feels guilty for me. I feel guilty when I eat a steak. I've still got this conditioning in my mind that that this is not good for me, but I know it is. You know how weird it. You know how
Oh,
like
I know what you mean.
contradictory. You know how contradictory it is. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's very contradictory, and it goes against everything that we've been told. And my family's sometimes like, Josh, you can't eat steaks. You can't eat that. I'm like, listen, guys, no. There's a reason behind this all.
Yeah. No, no, there is, and the unfortunate thing is a lot of the MDs out there, they're just because they're not well educated on a lot of this subject, and they're actually been trained by pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
When LDL hits a specific number, put that person on statin. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. It's nice you put that person on statin to kind of lower the to lower your LDL. But when you lower the LDL, you're causing brain fog. You're causing your creatinine to actually goes up in your blood test because now you're causing muscle damage. So there's a lot of things happening, and the first thing is the brain fog because your cognition, everything, performance just kind of drops. Um,
Yeah.
so it's not a statin. My LDL went as high as 20 millimolar, which is unheard of and probably was one of the highest when we actually were looking at the carnivore community. Just so I can prove everyone that it's not the LDL that causes heart disease. You know, it could be genetic. Unfortunately, with my issue is totally different for sure, but it's not the LDL. There's a lot more to it than that. You know, I look at the
Mm.
oxidized LDL, and this is one thing that a lot of the influencers should be aware of, especially being on a ketogenic. To kind of give you an example, I know we're kind of jumping back and forth, but when you talk to a lot of influencers and quite a few that I know that they have millions of followers, they said, "Oh, don't worry about the ketogenic. If your cholesterol is high, it will stable within about 3 years because you haven't utilized your gallbladder. Eventually, in 3 years, your gallbladder will start to, excrete more bile, and your cholesterol goes down." They're always
Yeah.
it's funny how they say in 3 years or in 2 years it'll stable. That's all bullshit. There's no such thing
Yeah.
because three
There's
years
no sign.
yeah, so 3 years goes by and your cholesterol is still high and you're still consuming the additional fat. You say, what the hell is going on? Like mine was as high as 20, and in a way,
When was this? When was that?
well, that was last year. I was as high as
Oh,
20,
okay.
and I was kind
Okay.
of worried. But you know, when you
But
look
they were
at
probably the big fluffy LDLs that were
yes,
just flowing through they're doing their thing, repairing what needed to be repaired.
correct. So obviously there is some type of inflammation, and my inflammation it is probably heart disease that the cholesterol has increased because they're doing some repairs. And when you look at the triglyceride HDL ratio, I'm below 1, which is zero point 0.6, perfect.
It's
Um,
excellent.
then you look at two other factors. You look at your ApoB, supposed to be below 80, and mine was below 80. And there's another one, it's called LP little a, so lipoprotein small a. So that's usually it's a genetic, and that one has to be below 30, and mine is at 180, which is quite high. And so this is one thing. That's how you find out if you actually have oxidized LDL from that one number. That means
Okay.
when you're kind of consuming the fats and stuff, it keeps recycling in your liver, and your liver is not able to process it properly. So people like that, they have to kind of know exactly what's the ratio like. It doesn't mean you have to eat fat to protein ratio every day 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. No, there's days you might have to play with that number based on your performance, based on your stress, and that's how you can
Mm.
actually lower the LPA. So I've done a lot of research on LP little a, which is the oxidized LDL, and I was able to bring it down to almost 45 now. So I need like
Oh wow.
15 points, and I'm gonna be averaging the stupid thing that I don't have to worry about it. And to be honest with you, it's all to do with 2 or 3 supplements that our bodies are 110% deficient in. One of them is magnesium. And one thing is, this goes to everyone on a Paleolithic diet, goes to everyone on a carnivore diet. Overconsumption of protein will cause a
Mm.
deficiency in magnesium. And I've done the testing and I have the facts and it does show it, and I've done a lot of research behind it. So we become deficient in magnesium, and magnesium plays almost more than 500 functions in our body. And guess
Mm.
what? This is to everyone who isn't statin. Start taking magnesium. You will actually drop your cholesterol level from being at highs 20 down to 2.3 within about less than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And, and my doctor was shocked. Even 80 milligram Lipitor, a 40 milligram of Crestor, which is statins, they would only reduce it down to about 18 or 17 because yes, I was on statin and I was on Lipitor because due to my condition, I stopped both of them, start taking magnesium, and it dropped to 2.3 within about less than 3 weeks. So
That's awesome.
this is really a must for everyone to actually understand and know. If you take calcium and you put in a cup of water and you stir the water, the calcium will stay hard like a rock. You add magnesium to it and you stir it and it emulsifies it. So we are all deficient in magnesium. It is a must. And another thing is that we're deficient in is enzymes.
Mm.
And you probably notice, Josh, that I've been consuming most of my food raw. I highly recommend it raw. I highly recommend it being at least medium rare. It's not overly cooked. So imagine when you consume and you already have the enzymes within that meat, the moment you actually eat it, it's gonna emulsify and digest itself. So
Okay, that makes sense.
so why put a lot of stress on your pancreatic system to release protease, lipase, amylase, for example, to break down that food, while
Yes.
we can actually utilize the enzymes of that pancreas to heal the body. So the
Mm.
only reason we get a lot of inflammation from eating grains and rice and chocolates and bread, so on and so forth, because yes, they are anti-nutrient, but who cares about the anti-nutrient thing? It's such a minor factor. It's because there's no enzymes in them to break them down properly. So you put so much
Mm.
stress on your pancreas that the pancreas is not able to release these proper enzymes. And by the way, why use the enzymes of the pancreas to actually utilize it for food? You should actually be utilizing it to heal the body. So if you use it
Mm.
to heal the body, then get some freaking get some external digestive enzymes that they have proper pancreatic system. Take it with that grain food you eat, whether oatmeal or whether rice or whatever it is, and guess what? It's gonna emulsify and break them down without causing any outborn side effect. Whether you're gonna have pimples in your face, whether you're gonna have like a
Yeah.
rash on your chest, whatever it is. Like I used to get rashes from eating eggs, and I thought, hey, I'm allergic to eggs. I'm like, maybe let me do some more testing. I start taking a specific enzymes playing with the pancreatic enzyme, and guess what? I don't get it anymore because
It's co-
I'm missing a specific enzyme, or my pancreas is not releasing a specific enzyme to actually break down the that cause the allergy reaction is something in the egg white, the type of protein. Now I'm taking a digestive enzyme that actually breaks that protein, and guess what? I don't get rashes or nothing. I feel fine. I feel 100% healthy when I eat it. I can still go out, eat 10 eggs, 15 eggs, and go out for a run.
yeah,
So so
that's
I
it.
so enzymes play a huge role in our diet,
Yeah.
and I hope that kind of gives you a little bit about the pancreatic enzyme and why I eat it raw. Like I eat my raw fish as much as possible, my raw meat as much as possible. I eat
Yeah.
the raw suet, the fat as much as possible. Once in a while, yeah, I do cook it just because I miss a flavor, of the barbecue flavor and so on and so forth. Definitely go
Yeah.
for it. But when I do that, I take an enzyme. I take an
Yeah.
enzyme to actually help with the digestion because I don't want to keep pushing a lot of stress on my pancreas. So take the
Mm.
pancreas. Let's say this is like your printer, where that printer only gives you 20,000 copies. Eventually, after that 20,000 copies, you either take that that printer, you toss it away, or you take it to the shop. It tells you, unfortunately, we cannot repair it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a dying machine. So
Yeah.
imagine your pancreas can only produce 100 times, 100,000 times, 200,000 times. So imagine since the day we were born till you hit your 20 or 30 years old, you've overused your pancreas by eating, 2 meals a day. You snack two, three, 4 times. So technically, you're eating about 6, 7 times a day. So you're constantly using these enzymes, constantly using these enzymes. You hit the age of mid 30s. Guess what? Now you have gut health, autoimmune, thyroid crashing, heart disease, so much going on. Why? Because your pain, and you get little pain in the top left corner. You think, oh, it's my heart, or maybe it is my pancreas. You don't know. And guess what? When you go actually get a echogram or whatever they call it, they'll notice that your pancreas is actually enlarged. So whenever you abuse an organ, actually it gets enlarged, right? So what happened is we abuse our pancreas so much that by the time we hit the age of 30, now we're actually get hit with diseases because we're not giving our body enough time to heal itself. And the
Mm.
pancreas is a dying organ. I say this to
Mm.
everybody. We all have a dying organ. People who actually audience who are actually on Instagram who's already doing something about their health in their early 20s, they are on the right track. People like myself who've already start changing their lifestyle at the late 30s and the 40s, we're a little bit late. So we actually have to depend on eating some raw food and some digestive enzymes to continue living healthy, or else we're
Mm.
just gonna continue enlarging the organ. Eventually, we're either gonna have a pancreatic cancer or we're gonna have some kind of disease that cannot be fixed, and we're pretty much out of this world.
Mm. That makes sense. Oh, that's very interesting.
So even on a carb night, even on a carb night, So I did a test. So if I go ahead and eat my rice or sweet potato, so on and so forth, I will get some inflammation in my tongue where I had have like some cold sores. I can't swallow that good. Um, I have some itchiness on my chest, and it goes on for 3 days, and within 3 days it's gone. So it's a type of
Yeah.
inflammation that is happening, or something in the gut that is not getting digested, is causing an inflammation reaction. So what I do is right now I take specific digestive enzymes before my carb night, and guess what? I fall asleep, wake up the next day. By the way, when you take digestive enzymes, your bowel, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night, you have to actually go to the toilet. It's funny, like all
Yeah.
the garbage you ate, it just comes out. But guess what? There's no pimples, there's no rash on the chest, there's no cold sores, nothing. Why? Because whatever was
Mm.
creating the inflammation, it's in your pancreas is not able to break it down. Now that digestive enzyme is actually breaking it down. And over the past 7 months, I've tested about 27 different companies that create digestive enzymes. I'm stuck to one, just for some reason the material they use and the quality of it and the amount of
Which one is that?
I'll actually share the link with you here.
I've got one here. It's called Theragest.
How you
It's
like that
by
one?
Clear Labs. Well, it was given to me when I went for, I don't know, but I've still got it here, and it's a good idea to maybe try it out when I do eventually start adding carbs back in. But at the moment, I'm feeling, I'm doing this more, like I said, I'm doing this more for my cognition. I just want
Hmm.
to feel good. I'm not here to build muscle, be a
Yeah.
CrossFit athlete. I just want this brain to start working again, and then I'll start worrying about carb loading and digestive enzymes. But yeah, it seems to be pretty good.
Okay.
I was taking that with the stomach acid, the betaine hydrochloride
Yeah.
with pepsin. Yeah.
And that's been working good for you.
Well, I'm not at the moment with this
Okay.
carnivore reset. I've stopped uh, stopped my magnesium for a bit. I just off everything, and then after 2 weeks, the first supplements I'll probably add back in is some magnesium and just see how that affects me.
Okay.
Because I've had very low blood sugar and blood pressure, and I
Okay.
think that's still to do with, we've had mold and things like. There's a whole lot of things, but I think magnesium will be the first supplement that I add back in, definitely, because that is something that I do know is a big helper.
It is, especially if you tend to, whether you get a lot of soreness and or cramping, magnesium, the potassium, they play a huge role in that. As well for cognition, for stress, for mood. Magnesium glycinate plays a huge role in that. Sometimes I do add, because I do work in a corporate clientele, and sometimes I add like L-theanine to kind of help
Yes, I've seen
calm the
that.
brain as well too, so you're not constantly having like a monkey brain as well too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but there's so many things we can talk about and break it down and supplement wise. But the one I'm using for the enzymes is the one we have access here in Canada. Is enzyme what is it called, the Enzymatica, the company,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and I found this actually working good. I do have a lot of audience who are on carnivore, been taking it, and they feel way better, especially when they consume fats, a lot of fats with their steak. They were getting upper left quadrant little bit of pain, which is your pancreas, because our pancreas is very weak in releasing lipase. And some of
Mm.
them, they actually get a little pain in their bottom right where their gallbladder kind of releases the bile as well. So by taking now one is actually is taking the stress out, because one of the only product out there that I've looked into that is able to digest fats within about 22 minutes.
Oh
And,
wow.
and, you,
Okay.
and you know for fact, fats does take a long time in our body. That's why we stay satiated for a long time. It takes a long time to
Yeah.
be digested. So anyone who's having like issue with like MCT, digestive stress, where they want to mix it with their coffee or they want to use it as an enhancer for cognition or energy before workout, sometimes that digestive enzymes will help emulsify it a little bit faster than what our body is capable of doing as well too.
Oh wow. Okay. I'll definitely have a look at that brand then. See if we get it here.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I like it, but I'll definitely look yours up as well. The one you mentioned, I wouldn't mind kind of looking into it because I know I've tried a lot of local ones here, and when I look at the ingredients, they're pancreatic enzymes. Even thought they have betaine and hydrochloric acid and bromelain and all that stuff. But these specific enzymes to actually break down protein and fats and stuff, the amount is so low that you actually have to consume 3 or 4 capsules per meal for you
Yeah.
to feel good. And that's what
Yeah.
a lot of audience are not aware of. They just take it's like, oh, I still feel bloated, or I still feel that I'm not digesting it. Well, you do need sometimes more than one. You might need like couple. And the nice thing is with that one, the amount in it is quite high for a big meal to actually assist as well too, which is really nice
Yeah.
to have.
Okay. No, that's very interesting. Definitely check that out.
No, no, for sure. Especially if you're gonna try something with the carb loading or anything like that, you'll notice a huge difference in the way it's digesting and helping you emulsify a lot of the foods without getting overwhelmed or kind of putting so much stress on your gut as well too. Because
Yeah.
it does a huge difference. It's crazy how sometimes they work, and the thing is nobody thinks about it. So
Yeah.
lot of older crowd who are going carnivore, ketogenic, paleolithic, if you're not going to be eating much raw food, because raw food is, like I said earlier, within its own digestive enzymes to break itself down, having something externally like that does help quite a bit. So if one supplement anybody wants to take and cannot afford other things, by the way, I tell this to everybody: don't take supplement as a medication or anything that you have to. Make it part of your lifestyle, make it part of your food intake, and that's what I do. So that $30-40 that is costing you a month for that supplement, make it part of your diet that you require it. Because when you become carnivore and you're not utilizing so many things out there, from herbs to accessories, so on and so forth, you can spend your money on good quality enzymes that would definitely
Yeah.
help you in your life and help you on your journey as well too.
Mm. No, I feel you.
So what else is going on?
Uh, no, nothing much. Starting my final year of university tomorrow.
Okay.
So that was the main reason for going back to carnivore. Is I needed to get this brain working again and get my creative juices flowing again. But I'm looking forward to the year. I'm looking forward to learning as much as possible. And again, you know me, I'm all about simplicity. So I just want to make this as easy as possible. Because I think we can put a lot of stress on ourselves by over analyzing. And so I just said, you know what, let's just cut everything out, just go back to carnivore. And like you said, I think you said it before, but it's the ultimate reset. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Doing something like this is just the ultimate way to just give your body a break from the other stresses of life, because it's just so many. And I went for another hair tissue mineral analysis,
Hmm.
which has been sent to a lab in Texas called I think it's Elemental Labs or something like that.
Okay.
But that's going to be more comprehensive, because the last test didn't really tell me where my ratio. So that's going to tell me I've got so much sodium, I've got this much magnesium. So that's going to be a very comprehensive test. So I'm really excited to see what that comes back as. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, that'd be great to actually get more information and see how it's going and stuff. And
Mm.
definitely will kind of work with you on that journey and stuff. And you know, it's amazing what you can do with the diet, with the carnivore, ketogenic, paleolithic. Just don't over make it too complicated. Make it as simple as possible, and put one day
Yeah.
aside or 2 days
And
aside.
just go with how you're feeling. And
Yeah,
there's that thing. Just go. That's the thing. At the end of the day, it's how are you actually feeling? Are
yeah,
you feeling good? Are you performing good? Because a lot of the times you can get obsessed with numbers and blood work and stuff like that, and then you just forget to live,
yeah,
and then you forget. But if you actually just focus on stress, I mean, we know stress is the killer.
for sure.
Stress is the number one thing. So if you can manage that, you pretty much 70% of the way there.
Yes. Oh,
And that
100%.
comes through enjoying life and going with how you feel and things like that. So that's my outlook now. And I've joined the Aura Ring
The Oura Ring.
crew. I've been enjoying it though. It's been helping me keep myself in check in terms of sleep and stuff. So I'm pretty excited to see how the diet, how certain foods may influence and eating times and things like that. But that's later down the road.
No, that's awesome. It's yeah, been on the Aura Ring for a while now, so I'm actually testing on other
Yes.
equipment as well too, with the training that we'll end up talking about, and it's all about recovery because I know with the Aura Ring kind of tells you your recovery at night for your HRV and stuff, and based on
Yeah.
that, depends how your day is gonna be stressful or not. But this other machine, you put it on in the morning, and you put it on when you actually train, and it gives you the recovery based on your HRV as well too. So with
Oh
that,
wow. Okay.
so with that machine, I've been actually working for the past 3 weeks. It's pretty amazing. I kind of like it as well too, which is kind of keeps you in check and keeps your heart that you should work out hard, you should work out light based on your HRV recovery, which is very
Okay.
amazing. Yeah, but we'll have another chat. We'll talk about it
Yeah.
more. Uh, you
Thanks so
know,
much, Maurice.
definitely. I know we took an hour, quite a bit of your time as well. Mine is a Sunday, so I'm kind of free today. But
Yeah, the sun's going down. Yeah, it's nearly 8 o'clock here.
oh wow,
Yeah,
so it's time to sleep for tomorrow university.
exactly. You got to get a good sleep in.
No, that's amazing. That's awesome. Hey, well, wish you luck and thanks for your time. And we'll definitely touch base and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Maurice.